Cancelled.
Schweezy.
Our next segment, since it's our 69th episode, I thought we'd have to do something I'm attracted to. And I thought I would do a little video essay on horrible women that I think are attractive. So we got 3 women here that I want to go over who I think are attractive, but that they're horrible people that you yourself should not think are attractive. So
Let's just jump into it.
So first up is Jodi Arias. She's known for murdering a man named Travis Alexander. She's the typical case of a crazy woman that is very attractive. And I feel like men use the word crazy or say a woman is crazy too loosely these days. And I want to fix that because there's some real crazeballs out there that we should be paying attention to. And this Jodi Arias is very much that type of woman, and she is 100% crazy. And for those of you who aren't aware of this crazy type of woman, or the concept of this type of woman, she will ruin your life, and then she will ruin your life or kill you. But the sex is chef's kiss phenomenal. And it's a good one-time thing in your life to have one of these chicks, but then after that, you don't want it. It's one of those things. If you can make a clean exit, you'll hope you have the time of your life. And so, one thing about Travis, the man she murdered, you always have to remember the person they murdered in these situations, is that he was a very devout Mormon. He even went on a mission trip to Denver, Colorado. Got very lucky. He got very lucky in his choosing for his mission trip, and then he came back, and but his one weakness was that good premarital sex that he would have a lot with Jodi and probably some other women, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I know there are other Mormons and Christians to this day who will bring this specific situation up as a reason why premarital sex is bad, and I'm here to tell you it's not. It's crazy women having sex with crazy women, which is bad, but also the best, all at the same time. And the thing is, with these crazy women, like, I'm here to educate you that it is a good time, but you also have to be very, very careful. You know, the crazy hot scale, my attractive to good personality, she's a very attractive woman. And that's why I'm talking about her today, because I'm very attracted to her. And I don't have the best mental health, and that's why I'm talking to you about this. So when you find these crazy women where the sex is good, but she's crazy, you know, there's that fun. There's the risk. There's the risk to reward ratio, and the risk to reward ratio for Travis was not good. And she there was like so many things that she almost got in trouble with. Like she eventually said she didn't murder him. Then they said someone broke in and murdered Travis, and she got away. And then she said she murdered Travis in self-defense, which was like 30 stab wounds and just way too much for a self-defense type of situation. And so that's the whole thing. And she even mentioned, like, the day she got baptized to be a Mormon, that they had butt sex. So they very much used the poop hole loophole, as they would say. And so I watched the trial of this, and gotta say, the evidence against her was very bad. Like, she borrowed gas cans, so when she drove from, like, California to Arizona to Utah, that she wouldn't have to stop for gas, so she wouldn't have any receipts. She borrowed, like, 2 gas cans, something like that. And which was very interesting to know credit card trail or any video evidence or anything like that. There was like video evidence that she was there and they had sex and they played like the sex tape in court, which, you know, I didn't get to see that. That was the bummer. But like the whole time I was watching that trial, I was rooting for her the whole time. And that's not me rooting for her because I think she's hot. That was me rooting for her because that district attorney was a pig and a total bitch, and I did not like him, and so therefore I rooted for Jodi the entire thing. And she had the audacity at the end of it. She's like, I'm going to be selling this shirt that says like survivor or something like that for all the survivors of domestic violence. I'm like, very bold. That was a very bold claim. And it was a very bold of her to do that, but she's a very bold woman. And yeah, I guess she's still alive in prison somewhere. But anyway, she's a good lesson on crazy. She's someone who's very hot and very good in bed. She's probably very crazy and will probably murder you. She will very much murder you. So there's the risk to reward to all the men out there who's listening to this show today. Always remember that there is a risk to everything out there, and Travis didn't know the risk. We need to learn from Travis that sometimes crazy women will kill you, and yeah, so we all need to remember that. Next woman I do want to talk about. We all know Casey Anthony. She most known for, everyone thinks she murdered her child. I might think something otherwise for Kaylee Anthony, her daughter. So we all know there's a lot of insane fucking details in this case. So that's the thing, though. Like I said, did she murder her daughter? So there's a lot of things here. She was pretty young when this happened, so she could have just been young and dumb. She could have been a piece of shit. Or she's probably out of her fucking mind. It's one of these situations that I'm not fully able to know. But I think, though, in regards to her daughter dying, I'm questioning if she was the one who killed her, or was it just like unintentional? Maybe it could have been accidentally unintentional, and then she just didn't handle the situation very well. Because there's a good chance it was just like an accident how she died, and then she just did not handle the situation well. So, it's, there's a lot here. So I do want to talk about things a little bit on this. So initially, it was like a missing child case. And first of all, Casey didn't go to the police for like 30 days until after, like for as long as Kaylee's been missing. Which they say, like, the longer the child's been missing, the most likely the child's dead. And it's a very bad sign if your child's missing. Sometimes they're just very, very raped and everything like that. So always a lot of things going on in those situations. So yeah. And so Casey said that she left the child with her nanny, and the name of her nanny was Zanny the nanny, her full name was Zenaida Fernandez-Gonzalez, and she was working at Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida. So, and this is all in Florida. That's why we know so much about it. So the police had to do their research. They couldn't find anyone named Zanny the nanny, and they even went to like the apartment complex, and like they even got records that was like, oh, no one named like Zanita or Zanny lived there, and that apartment's been vacant for a while. And also that Casey didn't work at Universal Studios, or didn't work there for like 2 years, and didn't know anyone there, which is already off to a bad start. Which, folks, if you're trying to get away with a murder, have a good alibi, have a good general plan. Basic things about her. I mean, they could have said, I feel like she possibly could have gotten away with Zanny the nanny, but why would you lie about your job? I mean, obviously, maybe lie to her parents or whatever, but like, why would you lie to the police? Be like, I don't know. I don't know that part. Maybe I didn't pay enough attention or research very well. And Zanny didn't exist either, which I will get into in a little bit why Zanny is interesting. And then also, so going further. So, and then eventually they ended up. So yeah, they looked in like this abandoned car that Casey had because it ran out of gas, and they said it smelled horrible, but they never checked the trunk. And their alibi was like, it's garbage and it's rotten pizza, whatever. And they're like, we think it's a body. And then eventually they find like Kaylee's dead body in the woods, but it's like decomposed, so it's just bones at this point. So pretty crazy shit right there. And so in court, like, obviously Casey's weird alibis and everything, what they said was that Casey was molested by her father as a child, and so she would like disassociate and make up random stories that would cope with it. That was the story the lawyer came up with or whatever. And even Casey's dad even went on the stand. He's like, no, I never molested my daughter. So as I say, they don't talk anymore. So yeah, but also another funny thing is Casey was paying for legal services with sexual favors, with blowjobs and other things. And she said she did it because she couldn't afford to do it, which, you know, assuming it's like a consenting thing, like a consensual, if it's like a consensual situation, and like the lawyer's like, well, if you give me 3 blowjobs, I'll do it for you. And you're like, you know, that's not a big deal. I can do that. I don't think it's that bad. People will say it's bad, but like, honestly, that's like the plot to like most pornos. It's like, oh, I can't pay for that. Well, a blowjob will help me. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll do that. You know, and if it's consensual, I feel like it's a good thing. And she got off. Like, she was found not guilty, so she got off. And, well, she did get in trouble for, like, child abandonment, but with previous time served and good behavior, she only has been, like, 10 days in prison. But, so, like, she got off. So I'm like, it's a pretty good, like, would you give a guy a blowjob for, like, to get out of jail for doing something really bad, to get out of trouble, get out of jail? Like, I don't think that's such a bad deal, to be honest. And I know it's like getting taken advantage of and stuff like that. There's a lot of bad things that's like going on here. Like, we talked about Harvey Weinstein earlier, and they're like, oh, if you give Harvey Weinstein a blowjob, like, all your dreams will come true. Like, I've done a lot worse for a lot less. I'm telling you that. And I'm not even near where I want to be. So, you know, it's very interesting, to say the least. But she did get off. So, you know, maybe it was worth it in the end. Maybe she was born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. Now, do I actually think Casey intentionally killed Kaylee? I don't think she actually did. So, I did see they went over Xanax. The street name for Xanax is, like, street name. It's Zanny. And who else was Zanny? Zanny the nanny. And Casey's dad would also be like, yeah, Kaylee would sleep for like 12 hours at a time. So could have been Casey giving her child Xanax, just, you know, chill her out, you know. And an accident could have happened there, and then she just didn't handle the situation very well. So that's kind of what I think happened, that it was an accidental death on Kaylee where Casey could be blamed for it, and then she just didn't handle the situation very well. Was it a good thing? No. But it is what it is. Still think, yeah, there's a lot of bad things going on here. So, like I said, this segment is horrible women I think are attractive. So I still think she's horrible. Last woman I do want to talk about is Elizabeth Holmes. I haven't watched any episodes of The Dropout on Hulu yet, and so I won't be talking about anything I've seen there. I'll do my own research. I will be watching it, though. I will discuss it on the show for those of you who wanting to know. So
come on, Mark, don't be stingy.
So she hasn't killed anyone intentionally, but she is known as a pathological liar, and who I also think is attractive. So it's very, very weird. Her main claim to fame, if anyone knows Theranos, it's a weird thing where you just prick your fingers and you get a tiny drop of blood, and then you're, you know, obviously able to do blood testing from there and get a ton of information. However, the technology didn't exist, and they are saying it exists, and they are able to do it, and so people are getting blood tests back with very wrong information. And I think that's her. So and the idea was, you know, instead of going to your doctor, maybe like getting lab tests done like 2 times a year, or, you know, less or more than that, like you getting it monthly. So you have like a monthly view of your health from your blood work, which, like, on paper, all this is like a really good idea. And I think that's why she got so much funding and so much stuff for it. And that's why, like, she went as far as she did, because it was such a good idea. And at least a good chunk of that technology exists, but I don't know if we're not there yet, or I don't know. I'm not too knowledgeable on this type of technology. But like they were pretty shitty to their employees, like viewing all their emails and the ones that were not CC'd on and stalking them, and everyone's wanting to know if they say anything bad, they can get in big trouble and stuff like that. And they also had like this Edison machine, which was their big machine that would test the blood from the fingerprints and stuff like that instead of a third party machine. And that apparently was terrible, and mixing blood and everything. And required people to like move things manually where they could have injured themselves or contaminate samples and stuff like that. So I mean that's also a type of thing. So really shitting your employees and stuff like that. A lot, like I said, there's like a lot of things, and employees are like scared to talk to each other because they're worried like someone's a mole in the group or whatever, and all that stuff. And last thing I want to talk about is her voice. So if you hear her natural speaking voice, it sounds normal, but it's usually when she would try talking, she would try to make her voice deeper, like, "Hi, I'm Elizabeth Holmes. Nice to meet you." Like, you can kind of make your voice lower if you try to talk lower. Instead of, like, this is my normal speaking voice or my necessarily voice that I would talk on this podcast on, would be talking like this. It is a little bit more comfortable and a little bit lower than what I can do. I can talk like this if I really wanted to. But, yeah, and then when I'm trying to emphasize something, I try to, like, go up a little bit. It's just all like in regards to speaking, but she would very much try to talk like this and like very lower, try to talk in like a lower voice. And I believe like in regards to like mentally what's going on is to make her sound like more authoritative and make her sound seriously, because she's very much in like a man-dominated field, so she had to make extra steps towards her personality, towards the way she talks and the way she acted and her body movements and stuff like that, to make herself come across more seriously and authoritative in front of other people. So I don't blame her for doing that, but it's also weird, and her normal speaking voice is fine. I feel like at that point, I always hate the idea like women have to do extra things to be taken seriously when they don't. So, is it weird that I'm attracted to Elizabeth Holmes? Kind of. I definitely shouldn't be, because she's a pathological liar. It's not good for relationships, and maybe she is a pathological liar, or maybe she was like Sum 41 and she was just in too deep. I don't know. Hey, you just finished one of the many, many highlights from Cancel Schweezy. We got plenty more on the channel, so make sure you hit that subscribe button, and if you like what you just watched, go ahead and smash that like button as well. Go subscribe for more so we can teach you how to be a better human in our world. So, yeah, stay awesome.